Hello and welcome to the second segment of the King's Roundtable on Inetta and Friends. We have to my extreme left King Lester Jackson, who is a U.S. Senator from Georgia and also a local dentist here in Savannah, Georgia. We have to my immediate left King Stephen Lee, who is yours truly son. To my immediate right, we have King Jermaine Childers, who is also an Iran and Iraq war veteran. And we have to his right, we have King Jay Haithco, who is the pastor of this place at the Lion's Den, St. Philip AME Church, 613 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Savannah, Georgia. And to his immediate right, we have King DeHonre Thurman, who is the pastor of St. Paul's CME Church, also here in Savannah, Georgia. And on this segment, and we welcome you, and on this segment, we are going to talk about love and relationships. Love and relationships. I believe it was Al Green who said love will make you do wrong.
Yeah.
He also said love will make you do right.
Make you come home early.
Make you stay all night.
But I thought that this is a very important topic for black men to discuss, because the general perception is that black men are absent, black men are irresponsible, black men do not know how to entertain a healthy relationship. So we're going to just go around here, the table here, and I think everybody at this table is in a relationship with somebody. Am I right?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Relationship with God.
Okay. That's
The only one that matters.
That's the first relationship we ought to have, right?
And you know, it's interesting that you would say that, because when my wife and I went through marital counseling, the pastor who was Joseph Roberts, the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, who was my wife's pastor at the time, and he counseled us and said, your marriage is by a relationship that is like a triangle. And he said, and God has to be at the top, and then you have the two persons that are there. And so that's why I said, when you start looking at relationships, there has to be a God center, or the relationship is not going to work. And you know, I've had many counseling situations as far as marriage, and I said, unfortunately, there are many marriages that are not biblical. They're legal, but they're not biblical. There is a difference.
Yeah.
Well, Pastor, there's something else though. They say that black men who are in happy relationships live longer.
Ah,
That
makes sense.
Black men who are in happy relationships live longer. Black men die faster than any other group of people.
Oh yeah, because of stress.
Because of stress. But you know who takes away a lot of that stress?
A good woman.
A good mate, right?
A good mate.
A good mate. So black men who you know, they're saying you have a higher rate of depression when you're divorced, when you're a widow, when you're separated.
Interesting.
But and the key thing is a happy relationship too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a happy
Not
relationship.
just a relationship.
Not just a relationship, but when you have a good wife, it means something to the spirit.
I think the Bible says, "He who finds a wife finds a what?"
A good thing.
Good thing.
And it talks about value, and it talks about value of a wife too.
Yeah.
More than rubies.
More than rubies.
Yeah.
More than rubies or pearl.
Can I qualify that thing about finding a wife finds a good thing?
Yeah.
Let me qualify that and say, he who finds a good wife.
Good wife.
Because anybody can find a wife. You know, it just got to be a good one.
Yeah.
But it's a partnership. Anytime
It
you
is.
talk about relationship, it's at least two people, and there has to be a relationship. And we talked about spirituality earlier. There's a chemistry that has to be there when I'm counseling, because you know, as a pastor, you kind of make your own judgment. Say this marriage is going to work, that was not going to work. And then the ones that you say don't work do work, and the ones you say that do work don't work. And you start wondering, and you realize it's really the chemistry. Because, you know, that couple is always arguing. That ain't going to last. And they still together arguing. But that was the chemistry. That's what their relationship was about. That quiet, nice couple that, they're going to be married forever. They're divorced. because they didn't know how to communicate.
Yeah,
Silently hate each other.
They know.
They silently hate each other.
Yeah. And you know, as I many years ago when I was in Hinesville, I did some premarital counseling for a couple, and one of the things that I said during the first session, I said, if you all are getting married for any other reason than love, you need to rethink why you get married.
Hello.
And I said, you know, gone are the days of shotgun weddings. Just because somebody's pregnant doesn't mean you need to get married.
Right.
Or contractual, families.
Okay, yeah, right.
They marry people or prearranged marriage.
Right,
All that
yeah.
goes into it.
And then the very next session, they said that they were pregnant. And that's why they were getting married. And during that same session, the fiance said that he was not ready to get married. And the sister said, I be dog.
She didn't say
I
that.
got, no, well, we weren't in the fellowship hall, we were in the office. And so she was like, you know, my family has made arrangements, got plane tickets, got hotel rooms reserved and all that. Somebody gonna get married.
Right.
And I was like, sister, I asked him, why is it that you don't want to get married? He said, because the engagement didn't go the way I wanted it to go.
Wow.
I said, sister, do you hear what he's saying? She was like, somebody gonna get married. It's like, all right. They got married. 6 months later, they were divorced. You know,
That was doomed to start from the beginning.
it was doomed from the beginning.
I wondered if she put that same type of energy into the divorce that she did into the marriage.
Wow.
Because honestly and truly, being a man who's been married twice, divorced once, divorce is probably more time consuming than it is a marriage. Like nowadays, it's harder to get divorced than it is to get married. Like you can go to the Justice of the Peace today, somebody you met off the street and be like, hey, I want to marry this person. Get married. You take that same person to that same judge, and they will tell you it's going to take you 6 months to a year
That's right.
to get rid of this person.
That's crazy.
Wow.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And if you have children, it's a year.
Exactly. So my question is, did she
And that's
put that-
assuming it's uncontested.
Exactly.
That's right.
So my question is, did she put that same energy that she put into getting married to getting a divorce?
One of the things that I love what Pastor Roberts told you. One of the things I tried, I'm blessed to marry a lot of people, and I tell them it's 3 C's that you got to deal with. I think this is the same thing, same type: Christ, covenant, and communication.
All right.
And if you can't, and if either one of those 3 are missing, then there's a big hole. And obviously, the covenant is different than contracts.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
we work on contracts in
All
the
the
world.
time.
All the time,
But
yeah.
covenants
Marriage is a
involve God.
Yeah. That's right.
And so I think that we don't do enough discussion around what a good relationship really looks like.
Exactly.
Too often we don't recognize that in every relationship there's going to be a crisis. And sometimes it's a crisis every other week.
Yeah.
In every I don't care who you are. All of us go through crises in our relationship, but are you able to communicate in the midst of the crises?
And I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be my next question. What does a loving relationship look like?
It's different, brother.
It's different for
It might be different. It might be different in every relationship, depending on what week you're talking about.
Hey.
Or what day?
Or what day. I mean,
I feel like a loving relationship just looks peaceful. Like, honestly, it's like a well-tuned machine. Like, everything just works out well. Like, y'all can be the biggest opposites of the world. But if you learn how to work together, like, that's peace, that's balance, that's, like, to me, that's a loving family right there. Like, as long as you hate me, like, as long as you love me more than you hate me, hey, I'm fine with it.
I look at a different.
Yeah.
I look at a loving relationship on how they able to handle crisis.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I look at a loving
That's the
relationship.
big thing.
Right. If there's crisis going on and people and can work together, like me and my wife work together in crisis situations, that's a loving relationship because we know we need each other to work through this.
Yeah.
Instead of working against crisis causing us to separate, sometimes it just brings us together.
And
Yeah.
there's no such thing as a perfect relationship.
No.
No.
But one thing, my wife has the best saying, and she'll tell people, she'll say, "My husband is not perfect, but he's perfect for me."
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. My wife said,
Is she perfect for you?
Yeah, we're perfect for each other.
You better say
I'm
that.
gonna ask
based
you,
on
what
the
was the
scissors and wings.
answer? I was gonna ask you, what was the answer to that question?
Well, she said this is what she says to other people. But I agree because now what I say to her is we're a team, and I feel you might get us individually, but when we're together, we're a tough team to beat.
Oh yeah.
Because
oh, yeah.
and the same thing that you're saying, Senator. Together, we work through things together, and we're a good team, and that's what it is. It's not, a man should take care of his woman, but a woman should take care of a man. It's teamwork.
it's
Right.
teamwork.
It's 100% from both sides.
Right.
To give 100%.
Ain't no 50-50.
Teamwork
no
make the
50-50.
dream
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what my wife said about me. When we had a little get together in my house, and there was a group of women sitting in the corner, and they was giving me all these accolades, and they were telling my wife, "Oh man, you're so fortunate. You married to this guy with this title. He's a professional. You live in this nice house." My wife told her, "That's not how I found him."
Hello.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What you're looking at is the finished product.
Yeah.
He said, what you're looking at is finished product. For her to make that work, it took a lot of work. All right. So when I go around and tell people I'm the finished product of what my wife, put out there. But it takes teamwork.
Yeah.
We got to work together, and we enhance each other's skills. So that's what marriage is.
Oh yeah.
A teamwork, and each of them enhance each other's ability to be better, and they grow off each other.
Right.
Somebody told me this story. I can tell it real quick. And it's not true, but it was a good story. It was Barack Obama and Michelle. They were driving down. They went to her hometown, and when they were driving through the city, there was a guy at a gas station, and Michelle said, "That's one of my old boyfriends." And Barack said to her, "Yeah, see, if you had married him, you would have been the wife of a gas station attendant." She said, "No, if I had married him, he'd be president of the United States."
The one thing about it, like he was saying, it really does take the crisis to be able to really show the real substance of a real relationship. That just like it takes friction to cause a diamond, right?
Hello.
You need, what I'm saying, the perfect
Pressure.
that perfect relationship is that diamond afterwards.
Yeah.
Nobody's seen that cruel rock before.
Right.
Which was a black piece of black coal.
Exactly.
Under
Right,
tremendous
right.
pressure.
Under tremendous
That's
pressure,
right.
which
Oh,
is that
boy.
crisis, turns into that nice sparkly diamond that everybody wants.
But you got to remember though, black men must love their woman. Black men must love their woman.
Oh, yeah.
There's a famous philosopher and poet who said this, and he came out of Augusta, Georgia, right, brother? He said, "This is a man's world." No. He said, no. The famous philosopher.
it would be
poet.
nothing.
It would be nothing without a woman or a girl.
That's it.
So
That's
you got to
it.
understand that, and so you got to love your woman.
Yeah.
And when you love your woman, and you love Christ, everything's possible.
It does.
And on that note, brothers, kings, we are going to take a pause for a brief break, and we will come back to continue this lively discussion about what it is for a man to love a woman. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to this section of King's Table, where we're talking to these 5 kings sitting here with me, and we're talking about love and relationships. Now, when we left off, what was being said? I think you
I
said something.
Right, I mentioned this philosopher and poet,
Yes, the great philosopher and
The
poet
poet
from Augusta, Georgia.
from Augusta, Georgia. Mhm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And men job to go out and get the bacon and bring it home, but the woman just keeps the household working.
Yeah.
And she needs to rule shoot, huh?
Her job to fry it up.
But but she fries it up.
That's
She does a lot more. Yeah, she does a
Yeah,
lot more than
She
fries.
does a lot more than fried. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, most of the frying. And most women now bring home most of the bacon.
Yes.
Most women now bring home most of the bacon. So when we look at relationships between men and women, there's another relationship I'm happy to talk about too. Is the collegiate relationship with colleges and with athletes. Before colleges was just getting everything.
Right.
And athletes, our college athletes wouldn't get nothing, and now they can get paid for their likeness.
Get paid.
So we're talking. That makes it a good relationship because it's a win-win on both sides. And we can equate the same thing in a family. When we talk about love and relationship, it has to be a win-win on both sides. A man has to love his woman, and a woman has to feel that love.
Yeah.
And you said something earlier, because you said now that women can be the real breadwinner of the family. And what I try to help people understand is don't worry about what others say. You have to understand how your relationship works.
Right.
What works for others may or may not work for you.
Right.
But your relationship is unique. And I have a good friend, his wife does very well financially. And he said, I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
And I said, but you have to understand how your relationship works. What works for you works for you. And that's what you have to focus on, is how your partnership works for you.
Yeah.
So let me pose a question to the kings.
Okay.
So then is or should a man, a black man, expect to be a leader in his household? Or is that an antiquated idea that no longer works? I'm posing the question. I have my own thoughts, but what are your thoughts about it?
You know what? I like to say that you all may have heard it before said that I run things in my house. I run the washing machine. I run the vacuum. I run the dishwasher. So basically, what I'm saying is, a woman has the ability, one way or another, to castrate their man.
Wow. Wow.
To make you feel less than a man.
Wow.
So, in some kind of crazy, twisted sense, you are as much of a leader in your house as your wife allows you to be.
Right. But you have to be confident in who you are.
Right.
And how the roles, and see, that's the issue I'm having. And I think that's where the confusion is happening, is because we're transforming. When we talked about relationships earlier, it was kind of contractual. The man was supposed to be the breadwinner. The woman was supposed to be the housekeeper. And the role was clear. As time has moved forward, the roles have now morphed. And the roles have changed. And that's why I said we have to be careful not to allow prior cultural understandings to be where they are now. Because now women have more opportunities before them. And can make more money. And so now it's a partnership. So sometimes I have to wash the dishes. I have to do the vacuuming. Yeah. So I have to do the cooking. But whatever, it's how we function as a team. That's what you cannot miss. Yeah. We're a team.
And it's like
and we have to make it work.
And it's like nowadays, speaking from, I'm at that age now to where, I'm in the middle of it. I'm 36. So, it's like I was brought up at 16, 17 years old, 18, told you're the one, you go out there, you're going to make the money. But now it's like, now I've lived my life. That's not just my role.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That might be what I'm looked at or expected to do, but that's not my role. And it's like when you get married, that's when you find out what your role is.
Hello?
When you get in an actual relationship, that's when you find out what your role is, because both of y'all can go and make the money.
Right.
But who's taking care of the kids?
Somebody got to take care of them.
Who's taking care of the bills? Who's taking care of the laundry? Who's doing this? Who's taking care of the car?
And roles change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't, it used to be the guy goes to work and the woman take care of the house. You can't do that no more, because now it takes two to take care of a household.
Yeah.
So now just as much as the woman's in the kitchen, the man has to be in the kitchen, right? If not, actually nowadays, more, the men are more in the kitchen now because they have more time. You know, because
Or
now
they enjoy
women
it. Some
are
of them just
doing
enjoy being in the kitchen.
Exactly.
I enjoy being in the kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's therapy for me.
Like, personally, I love cooking, and it's like, you know, when you know you're good at doing something, you're going to take it. All right, you know what? Baby, you don't have to cook no more. That is my job.
That's not going to tell Tracy that.
Yeah, we not going there
Well,
because you still like to have someone to cook you a nice meal.
Exactly.
It's just something
Well,
you
but-
enjoy.
But this discussion, aren't we called the kings? What are we called kings?
Right.
So my point in my point in saying that, well, I was.
So you
my
have a
point.
cook then. I forgot you
No,
have a cook then.
no. My point in going and saying that, offering that question, was I think you hit on it wonderfully, and perhaps everyone did, is that this idea of a relationship is that a woman is able to give a man something that a man can't give himself. Right? But a man is able to give a woman something that a woman can't give herself.
Right.
You know,
And no, I was just going to offer, and so a real relationship that works is where you do feel like a king in your own household. But it's only because that woman who you're in a relationship with is able to do something for you can't do for yourself.
yeah.
And so I was kind of being facetious when I was saying all
that.
of us have a need in some way to be affirmed
Oh yeah.
Well, definitely.
in our relationships, and that's what a God-given woman offers you,
Yes.
is that affirmation.
Now, before we get too far gone, I want to ask the youngest king at this table, what does a relationship look like to you?
I mean, all of y'all have said it. You've taken the words right out of my mouth. It's a mutual understanding between two parties, you know, that are both striving to be the best that they can be, but are doing it together, you know, and looking to also help the other person be the best that they can be, you know. You're right. We all have the right to feel like a king. I believe all black men should want to be kings. You know, they should all strive to be in those leadership positions. But I feel like nowadays it becomes a power struggle in a lot of modern relationships because nobody knows how to compromise and make and step aside to allow their partner to shine in the way that they should.
Probably the best word he used was compromise. Because I think that's another C that should be added to that Christ covenant communication compromise.
No, the four C's.
Okay.
Because without, like, you're gonna have to compromise in a relationship. It's gonna have to happen. Like, nobody can get their way 100% of the time. Like, when you wake up in the morning, you have to compromise with life. The first thing in the morning, you have to compromise with life. Am I gonna go about my day? I don't want to, but guess what? I have to.
And you
So-
can, go ahead.
So it's like being well, I don't want to get up. I don't want to go to work today. I'm off, but I don't have to work. But you know what? I'm gonna have to still get up and do something. You know, it's still a day. So, but compromise was definitely a good word that need to be used in relationships, like, because it definitely takes compromise.
And you're gonna disagree, but you don't have to be disagreeable.
Exactly.
You know.
I think one thing in my own personal relationship, because with my girlfriend, I'm only 21 years old, so, you know, I got a lot more growing and a lot more life to live and experience. But I think it's amazing that something that we do is really just communicate in those times of crisis, you know, because I feel like that's just something that we have always tried to make sure was present, because we know the importance of the communication, you know. And I don't think not that many people do know the importance of communication, especially my generation.
Yeah, I think that communication is something that's really being pushed now in the latter years, you know, because it's not really something big that I see that was pushed when I was growing up. You know, 'cause I think communication probably would have fixed a lot of relationships, you know, especially, I know in my own eyes, like, if I would actually just learn how to communicate, because I have an issue. Like and I actually see that a lot of men actually had this issue. It's like we come into a crisis and we shut down. And it's like we shut down on the person who's supposed to be there to back us up. And you can't shut down on your support.
Right.
So I think a lot of the black men period, needs to learn how, you know, healthy communication.
Can I offer though that I think that one of the issues is that we think that all communication looks the same,
Exactly.
and there are different communication styles.
Yes, definitely.
We are all relational beings. That's how God created us.
Yeah.
That's why in the garden, I mean,
Exactly.
it's not good
Right.
that man. We all agree. It's not good that we should be alone.
That's right. Yep.
But the reality is that so often we don't know how to adapt our communication styles to another person. And so there are times when, as men, we want to shut down. But sometimes you have wise, brilliant women who let you have your little shutdown for a little while.
Yeah,
And what they recognize is soon you're going to come out the cave
yeah,
and you want to talk to somebody.
yeah.
And I think the issue is also listening. I think
Yeah.
one of the things we
Yeah.
were not taught
Yeah.
was how to listen. You know, in the school system, they give you a hearing test, and and they assume if you can hear that you can listen.
That's
but
good.
hearing and listening
That's
is two
good.
different,
Right.
That's
different
good, man.
things.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, and we were never taught how
That's
to listen
good.
as a child, children to be seen and not heard.
That's it. That's good.
Well, what if I got a question? No, don't question God. Why not? Doesn't he have all the answers?
I ask questions.
I think it's about time to wrap up this segment of the King's Table. We thank you all for tuning in. If you would like to view, we encourage you to go to www.womeninpower.org and stay tuned for another session of the King's Table.